Good day, everyone. This is Juanita Cap from South Africa, Meticulous Moments, guys. But I'm streaming from Texas, and I am here with my wonderful brother and friend, my fellow martial artist. He's also part of the MAM group, the Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. And we've come quite a long way, guys, since Kris was on Meticulous Moments the first time. He has done so many things. I know this year, earlier, when we also had another interview, he was talking about his upcoming projects, and I remember us saying 2024 is going to be an amazing year, and indeed it is just going so well, guys. I'm so proud of Kris. We'll get to what he's been doing lately, but let's start at the beginning. Kris, I know you very well, and the Meticulous Moments audience knows you very well, but for those who've not met you, please just introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kris D. Roberts. I'd like to thank everybody tuning in or that will be joining. Um, I'm a 46-year-old male. Live in Southwest Florida. I was born in Northwest Pennsylvania. Uh, my family separated and mother moved to Florida, so I grew up between Pennsylvania and Florida. Um, I grew up as a country kid. I had a 5-gallon bucket nailed to the side of the barn, had a weight bench in the hayloft. Yeah, I was a country kid, and I'd be back and forth between Florida and Pennsylvania. Um, go to school in Pennsylvania, go to Florida in the summer for vacation to visit mother. And by the way, it's my mother's birthday today. Happy birthday, Madre. We love you. Thank you
Happy
everyone that
birthday
showed
to mom!
thank you everyone that showed love and wished her a happy birthday today. It was astounding. Appreciate every one of you. Um, So anyway, I would come to Florida in the summertime on school break, and then go back to Pennsylvania and go to school, vice versa, until I turned 13 years old. And at that point, I ended up living in Southwest Florida full time. And to be honest, it was hell. It was hell. Not my home life. My home life was great. Great parents. Supportive. I'd go to the gym every morning with my stepdad. It was everything was good in the home front, but it was, you know, new school, new country kid, and I got hit by a car when I was 3 years old. So this all started early in my life. I was young. I had an eye patch and false teeth. So from the car accident. So the bullying was always something that started at a young age. But fast forward, and now I'm in Southwest Florida, and the bullying was so much that I became somebody else. I think I almost changed my whole persona just so I could fit in and feel safe, if you will.
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, high school, middle school, high school was tough. And then in my early teens, I found drug addiction, gang life, crime, all of that started right around 15 years old when I had had enough of the bullying. I took a stand, you know. I'll never forget. Took a stand against these guys, once and for all. And it felt like it was the OK Corral for me. It's like I'm standing up to these guys. It's gonna stop or else, And yeah, I had a gun. I wasn't, I was scared and I wanted it to stop. So, I went out there and lo and behold, everybody seen that I had a gun and took off running. Oh, white boy's got a gun, and they all ran. But the next day, I ran into a couple of that crew, and I didn't have a gun the next day, and
Oh,
they were gonna, jump me, beat me down, beat me up, and lo and behold, the leader of the whole clique was like within earshot, and he's like, "Leave him alone, he's cool." So that was like 15 years old. I realized wielding power with, I mean, with the gun, with the whole attitude that enough's enough, I begin to be respected by functioning like that. So Long story short, I ended up in a street gang, uh, one of the largest Hispanic street gangs in America, and that didn't go well. I ended up becoming a homeless, drug addicted teenager. Uh, I told my family I joined a gang. They said go live with them. Wow, it was like being raised by a pack of wolves,
Yeah.
basically. So fast forward to it was coming right up to my 18th birthday, and a lot had happened. A lot had transpired. Like I said, I'd lived with the gang. I recall standing in line to get into a homeless shelter at 17 years old. It was tough. It was tough, but I was always resilient. Somehow, some way, I always kept pressing on. So I learned, yeah, I mean, pressing on, I learned that when I was in grade school, when I'd wake up with my dad at 3 in the morning and go check trap lines in the snowy hills of Pennsylvania. You know, I learned to get what you want, you got to do what you got to do. My dad, we didn't have a whole lot. Those furs and stuff would help pay the bills. The money that he would get from those furs, and of course I'd come in and go to school. So here I am. Most of my classmates weren't having to do what I had to do to survive, basically. Looking back now, though, I don't. I appreciate everything that my father taught me as far as hunting, fishing, how to live off the land. Those are priceless commodities in this age. Oh no, my Facebook crashed. Yeah, how's your hold up on vegetables and stuff though? You know what I mean? So it's like what's really important. I learned at the young age. So having said that, so when I finally came to my senses, I was like, I need to get away from this lifestyle. I'm going to be in prison or dead. And when I approached the leadership, they were going to kill me. I mean, literally. They chased me down one time right into a DJ saloon, a bar I used to work at as a teenager.
Yeah.
About 7 or 8 of them chased me in that bar to murder me. And I remember the whole bar emptied and got between me and them and said, "You're not touching them." They saved my life that day. And there were other occasions, but long story short, I decided it was time to make a change. Granted, I was 18. I had a street mentality, and I learned that there's sayings like it's not where you're from, it's where you're at. Furthermore, everywhere you go, you show up. You know, so I basically began a global tour of finding Kris. Because I grew up so back and forth, and so I didn't know who I was because I'd just gotten out of the gang, and it's like, okay. So we hitchhiked to Louisiana when I was 18 and started again working flood relief was the plan, but we ended up further north in Louisiana, and that's where I met my son's mother, and of course my son now, Christopher Darrell Roberts Jr. I love you, son. You know, uh, Went through phases there in Louisiana of discovering Kris. The addiction was still ravaging. Ended up in treatment. I mean, facing a prison sentence because of my addiction.
Yeah.
And again, I found myself at a level of life where it was time to change.
Mm-hmm.
Or else die.
Mm.
The addiction had haunted me from my teens. Well, I ended up going to a rehabilitation center. I mean, I'm being transparent tonight. I'm
Very
telling
good.
my story.
Yes.
Uh, I went to that treatment center, and it changed my life. I spent 30 days in inpatient treatment. By the end of the 30 days, I was the community leader. So I was like the leadership of the whole client base. Whatever. But lo and behold, 18 months after I graduated from that state treatment facility, I took a job at the same facility.
Oh.
I was running 3-quarter houses. Kane Flores, Calvin Flores, Soberness Recovery Homes. Sorry. Thank you. I love you all. Anyway, rest in peace, Paul McKnight. Carlos Espanol, I know you're out there somewhere. Katina Freeman. Anyway, all right, back on track. Uh, I lost myself.
You managed three of the divisions after having been a patient. 18 months later, you actually started working there and managed three of the divisions and became a
Thank you,
part of
Juanita,
the
for bringing
leadership.
caffeine. Uh, so yeah, I'm helping manage the three-quarter homes, and
Yeah.
I was kind of forced into the position because the man that took me in, because see, this is also the three-quarter homes that I came through after my treatment and relapse ultimately, then back into a halfway house. Here I am. The long story short of how I became the manager, the administrator committed suicide. He relapsed in his addiction and he decided to take his life. So suddenly I was, taking care of financial affairs. I was already responsible for, making sure men would get to meetings for recovery.
Hmm.
I had the privilege of working with a lot of people, helping a lot of people, and it was very rewarding. And mind you, I'm working at the treatment center back to back 16s on the weekends and then 8 hours on Monday because I'm going to college full time too, running a
Yeah.
three-quarter house. And it was overwhelming. You
Hmm.
know, I began to find myself really drained and just spent. And it just wasn't, you know, I don't know. I mean, granted, when I left the situation, I stepped up.
Hmm.
It was a constant upcoming from that point, but it was just I felt like my season had ended,
Yeah.
because again, I got my GED. I remember getting it in the mail, and a week later, I was sitting in a college classroom. It was
Wow.
just phenomenal how my life had begun to change because, I began to try to apply a new mindset to
Hmm.
my past, and of course, that's an ongoing refinement for everybody. So, I mean, I worked for the treatment center. Lo and behold, the state decided they were going to close. What it was is they were merging two departments, the
Hmm.
addicted disorders and mental health. They were just merging them. So everybody had an opportunity to move laterally, but you may have had to accept a job 500 miles away, 600 miles away. And if you
Yeah.
refused, if you didn't accept the job, you were no longer, you know, basically, you no longer were employed by the state.
Yeah.
So I had friends, I remember our party, our closing party. I mean, they told us tentatively a year in advance. So that whole year was just kind of grim. We
Mm.
were all looking at each other. And these people got 30 years in with the state helping people,
Wow.
and they're moving hundreds of miles away so they don't lose all their state bennies and this and that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the party, it was a, the Titanic was on the Cape and it was just sinking. So I came back I ended up moving back up to Pennsylvania. I ended up married through that spell. I ended up marrying a sweet young gal in Louisiana, and we were together for I mean, before we were married, we were together quite a while. I met her at the recovery house. We had an awesome relationship, just
Yeah.
two people that went different ways.
Hmm.
Uh, so I returned to Pennsylvania, and I ended up working at a treatment center in Franklin, Pennsylvania, Turning Point. Uh, Shout out Tyler Blandon, everybody that I ever, had the privilege to work with at Turning Point. There too, we helped people, Anita. We helped people get their lives back on track, and and I was always, oh man, Tyler, he could attest. I was always the guy that was known as, the matter of fact, no nonsense, you know, and that was just always my character because again, you go all the way back to where I came from, where I come up, you know, discipline was not lacking in my upbringing, believe that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I've always been kind of intense and I deal with that, I listen to, philosophy stuff and I work on refining my awareness and what have you. So it's the refining process, but I got off on a tangent. uh where was I again? I apologize.
You moved to Pennsylvania, where you continued working at the facility, at a new facility.
Yes, I worked there for, I want to say, a couple years. That was a great experience. Just
Mm-hmm.
Joe Shantos, rest in peace, had a great vision that I was glad to be a part of. They accepted me with arms wide open all the way from Louisiana. I landed the job over the internet, of course, and worked there for a spell. And I've always been an auto detailer. Um, I enjoy working on vehicles for some odd reason. It's just like today. I mean, spent a majority of my day in a fetal position in a Chevy Equinox. That was not pretty. So I mean, but I get the job done, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow the car looks like it could go in a showroom somewhere almost. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
taking something that's devastated and bringing it back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing it back to a better. So I tried my hand at auto detailing, owning my own business, and I did quite well. Um, but when you match the elements, in Pennsylvania, you got about 5 good solid months of winter. People aren't buying detail packages during the winter. You know, you may get one here or there. I mean, and you got to consider the demographics of 30 some thousand people.
Mm-hmm.
The economy isn't yet. But anyway, that's what brought me to Florida the past. We'll
Yeah.
fast forward. So I lived in Pennsylvania for that spell. I went to Pittsburgh Steeler football games, hung out in Pittsburgh, went to Erie, met a lot of great people that, even though I was from Pennsylvania, you always meet new people. So you all know who you are.
Yeah.
Um, from there, 2019, we'll fast forward clear to the good stuff. Uh, 2019, I seen an ad on the internet. I don't even think it was Facebook, but it was on the internet. Uh, for Netflix was casting extras for the film Sweet Girl in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I decided to take a jab at it. I was like, this sounds fun. At that point, I was working as a detail supervisor at Allegheny Toyota. Thank you guys. Um, and they graciously, gave me the time off. Heck, they probably even gave me an oil change or something and sent me on my way, because it was a couple hours from where I lived there. And so I went ahead and got an Airbnb, went down there for the whole weekend, and what an amazing experience. You know, Granted, we're standing outside in like 32-degree weather. In the upper level, if you've seen Sweet Girl,
Yes.
where I'm gonna say so I don't where Jason Momoa is getting chased up through the stadium and across the roof, and Jason Momoa jumps off the roof. Uh, anyway, I was up there. It was colder than hell and it was windy, but man, I was having the time of my life. Let me tell you. I was on a film set. Uh, I had met a lot of great people. Jonathan Shoup, shout out Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Um, and it was just phenomenal. Met and talked to Jason Momoa. I watched the directors, I watched the whole film team, and I was just amazed. I was amazed at how they were, like a well-oiled machine. They just flowed together. Communication was on point. And granted, they were dealing with hundreds of people. I was just a background facing the crowd extra. So anyway, after that instance, that man, I was on fire. I was like, I love this. I want to do this the rest of my life. That's what's going on. And that's all it took, and lo and behold, I continued my days out at Allegheny Toyota. Uh, put in a 2 weeks notice, got letters of recommendations. This guy's good at what he does. He's on time. He takes care of business. Like, thanks, guys. Sent me on my way. Jack Flinchbaugh, I appreciate you. Uh, so I get to Florida and I take a job at a as a detail supervisor at an RV super center. That's not detailing in my world. That's more like housekeeping. 'Cause you've got this huge RV, and it's like it's not like buffing and polishing a car per se. So anyway, I was supervising about 9 men and women, and there was a language barrier. There was, hey, this guy just came from Pennsylvania, now he's our boss barrier. They didn't like that, and they didn't like that I, made them do their job, but we handled it. We dealt with it. And then I was like, maybe this ain't for me, so I took a job at a place called Beach Buggies, Fort Myers, Florida. We did custom Jeeps. My friends at Beach Buggies would, take Jeeps and send and have them customized and resell them. And I was part of that whole process of respraying, the trim, undercoating, buffing and polishing, this, that, and the other, detailing, obviously. So I was with Beach Buggies for, I don't know, about a year and a little bit, maybe a couple years, and then I went on to, just other detailing jobs here and there. And then one time, I took an L, I took a loss, and here I was in Fort Myers, and a friend of mine, Vidal Ramos, shout out, he's like, hey, Kris, man, because I took a huge pay cut into a job that just wasn't as servicing as the other one. It was further from home. It was less pay. And I was like, what have I done? What have I done? So my buddy says, come on up here to Tampa. So long story short, I end up in Tampa. And all the while, mind you, I'm picking up small independent film gigs here and there. So, I'm going to drop a couple names real quick.
Yeah.
Fear Fame Production. Thank you very much for working with me. It was a pleasure working with you guys. Thank you for giving me the shot. And there's just so many. I wish I could mention them all. Rick Owen, Keith Driver, I appreciate you guys. Sean Thompson. That name right there just seals the deal. So we'll get to where we're going here, and where we've been real recently.
Absolutely.
I seen a friend of mine post on Facebook. He was all excited, and I was excited for him. I mean, I was elated, let me tell you. When I seen what he wrote, when I seen what he posted, he said he was giddy. He said
Giddy.
he was giddy about it. He was a little giddy. He says, this one's got me a little giddy. He said, and I could feel it. Yeah, man, I was really super excited. So I was like, you know what? Let me tell some people about Sean. So I shared Sean's post. I'm celebrating with Sean, this, that, and the other. A couple days later, Sean got around to sending me a link to apply to be an extra. So that's what I did. I was a bit apprehensive at first because, now mind you, ever since I left Fort Myers, went to Tampa, I was telling myself the whole way along.
Yeah.
Actually, I was telling everybody else and trying to believe it myself that Atlanta was my destination. I wanted to get to Atlanta. I wanted
Yeah.
to see what the film industry was like there. Because I had worked in Miami, I had worked in Orlando, Tampa, but I knew Atlanta was the hotbed for the industry as far as
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, uh, just the industry being there, and especially since the strike has ended, there's a lot of work. So, the whole time I'm making this progress north to where I'm at in Gainesville now, Atlanta was on the it was on the horizon, the radar. And like I said, it sounded real good to say it. Did I really believe it all the time? Probably not. To be honest with you, there were times where I
Yeah.
was like, what am I doing? But that's the norm in my life, in my world. Sometimes it gets a little rough. You got to kind of get yourself a pep talk. And for
Mhm.
all the people that support me and follow me, thank you. I appreciate you. That makes it all the more pleasant when I do have to talk myself out of the ruts.
Yep.
Anyway, Sean, I went ahead and submitted for that link to the link, to be an extra. And like I said, it wasn't until I was at my barber that I was like, you know what? What am I saying? I'm not going to go for this opportunity. This is why I came here.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it was like somebody else said. It's like, oh, it's just an extra. It's in Atlanta. And then I'm over here, the other guy on this shoulder is like, what the hell is he talking about? You know, that's why you're here. So anyhow, I sent, the required information for a casting call, or for a background role, height, weight, this, that, the other, a couple photos. So I sent a headshot. Annette Bautista Day, my photographer she's gotten me started in this, and her work has created a lot of opportunity for me. I just wanted to thank her. Saltgrass Studios attached to Annette Bautista Day. Andrew, appreciate you, sir. Uh, so anyway, I send that headshot, and I was bold. I study Meisner acting techniques. Meisner says make bold decisions. So, I
Mhm.
kind of sometimes I put that over not only in my acting life, but in my real life. So I'm like, let me send these two full body shots of me on a red carpet recently. And I attached a sappy little letter, which, casting directors generally look at pictures, nothing else. They don't have a
Oh,
lot of time to read your little biography there. But I
yeah.
included one anyway, and I said, "Hey, I appreciate this opportunity. Uh, I've worked for a Netflix
I think you're.
production before, and it was the greatest experience of my life. It inspired me to move halfway across the club, and I spelled love big time. Caps like that. Hollered it. I would love another opportunity. It's going to go down. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know. So, as any actor, actress, talent knows, when you're waiting a call back, um, when you're awaiting a
You're still
callback,
on.
you're like, on one hand,
Mm.
oh, I got the part. On the other hand, you're like, within your mind. So anyway, I was going through that. Okay. I was going through, after I clicked the submit button, I sent the email. I was like, I felt in my heart I was going to get the role.
Yeah.
So again, I was going through the roller coaster of emotions, wondering, I'm watching my emails like a hawk, text messages, anything that might come from this company. So, and the one day it was a holiday. So me and Sean, we're texting back and forth. You hear anything? You hear anything? Nope, nope. So, we're like, oh, and then Sean mentioned it was a holiday, and I was like, oh, that's it. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So that it gave me a bit of a glimmer of hope that maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. And I, in fact, got on my Facebook and said, I believe I'm going to hear from Netflix today. Now, granted, Netflix didn't contact me, but the casting agency did. So anyway, it was about 4 days after submission, and I'm driving home from work. It was a long day, and again, the mental gymnastics
Mhm.
accompanying awaiting a callback. And the phone rang, Juanita, and I looks down and I sees, I think it's 407 area, but anyway, I see Atlanta, Georgia, and I said, "Oh boy, I need to take this call," and I'm just like, I'm driving. It didn't even matter. You know what I mean? Everything. I mean, I wasn't oblivious and unsafe, but at the same time, I had to
Yeah,
take this call.
yeah,
So I took the call, and you know, adrenaline's pumping. I'm like, it's Atlanta. I mean, this probably isn't a telemarketer. So she saluted, greeted me, told me who she was, and it all ran together for a second. I'm like, excuse me, and she told me who she was again, and I says, oh, is this about Cobra Kai? Because that's the role I submitted to be a background on, and
yay!
uh, and she said yes, Juanita, and I says, oh boy, I said I've been waiting to hear from you.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's an
I said I
important
expected
phone
to.
call.
That would have been a bit bold, but I did say, it's so nice to hear from you. Thank you, blah blah blah. And I I was told to hold on for a second. We've been talking for getting to know who each other was for a second there, the intro
Yeah,
of the phone
yeah.
call, and suddenly she's like, hold on a minute. You wanna know what? That was the longest minute of holding on ever. Uh, Like like 5 minutes into what it seemed, I'm like, are you still there? Because all the while in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to drop this call. So I'm checking. Are you still there? And she's like, yeah. So here's what she says, Juanita. She says, hold on. And she was openly discussing something with somebody.
Yeah.
I could hear her talking. And then she come back on the line and she says, today's your lucky day. She says, we don't want you to be just an extra. We want you to be a character role.
Yes.
Somebody that actually has a possibility, a face on the screen. I didn't get the dialogue yet or some wood, but providing if that ever arose, I would get to speak on film. That would be phenomenal. But yeah, anyway, away from that because we can't talk a whole lot about that. But yes, I have been very fortunate to have received an opportunity with Cobra Kai season 6 on Netflix. There's not much I can say about it.
Uh-huh.
I'm very honored. Obviously, I've learned a lot. I've been on set 5 days already, and I've learned a lot about. It was the first day was like almost returning to my childhood. Just seeing
Mm.
because everyone knows who the cast is. I mean, seeing those guys together was like, huh, what? The only thing missing was Mr. Miyagi. It would have been great to see Mr. Miyagi. But
Yes.
anyway,
So,
it was, and the whole. Let me tell you, I got on a film group in Atlanta. I had to begin to make accommodations, figure out how I was going to find economic accommodations.
yeah.
So lo and behold, somebody replied to my inquiry, and I was able to elaborate. I didn't elaborate openly on Facebook. I said, I'm going to be in town filming, and they reached out to me in DMs. Shreep's entertainment lawyer, and he is my friend. Shreep says, hey, you know what? I'm a fellow actor.
Yeah.
Week here, pay me, and I saved a ton of money.
Thank
I'm
God.
thinking of a little Geico lizard. I saved a ton of money. But anyway, I was able to, and when you're awaiting a call sheet, a lot of times you don't get a call sheet until day before, day of.
Yeah.
So not only did I get accommodations with my friend, but it was 5 miles down the road from the film location, so I couldn't ask for a better place to have gotten in Atlanta, that would keep me handy to the studio where we're filming
Yeah.
the set. Uh, I've also, I'm kind of big on paying it forward. You know what I mean? I've had numerous
Mm-hmm.
people, and I don't know, right, wrong, or indifferent. I've had numerous people reach out to me when they heard that I was booked. So of course I shared the information of how I got booked. So I'm
You always
so
do.
excited to announce that four other Florida actors that I've been in the trenches with in this film industry have also been cast to be on Cobra Kai season 6. Their names, I don't know, maybe that's something they would like to do themselves.
Congratulations.
Uh, but just know I'm so happy for you guys, and look forward to maybe we'll be on set the same day. Because I it was a day before we wrapped, I believe, on set. So it would have been
Yeah.
Fri- or it would have been Saturday.
I see that Chris has been having some technical difficulties. I'm sure he'll be back with us right now. I just want to say on the things that he talked about today, to recap, there's a few words that he used, and those words are resilience, and he used mental gymnastics, he used that phrase, and he also spoke about turning negatives into positives. And I have to say, since I've known Chris, he has been resilient in the things that he has been working with. He has learned and taught himself how to make a negative into a positive. He's one of the most humble actors I know. He always pays it forward. He always shares his information with fellow actors because he always wants people to also excel in life. And that's something that's very special about him. It's not always like that. It's not always the case, guys. Lots of the times, people don't want to share information, people don't want to share open doors with others. He is not like that. So while we wait for him to come back, I'm going to be playing a little video from our sponsor for 2024. I'll be right back. I just want to check in with Chris. I think he lost signal. His signal was a little bit slow right before it went off. And then we want to hear more about his Cobra Kai journey. So we'll be right back.
Stairs to the top, where dreams take flight. Embrace the unknown, no longer hide. Journey's not easy, but oh, it's right. New beginnings await, take your first stride.
So that's our sponsor for 2024, guys. We're waiting for Chris to come back. Our sponsor is New Beginnings Motivation. Shout out to David Vrablik and the New Beginnings Motivation team. I've had quite a journey with them, and we are working together. And guess what? We work with underdogs. So if you're an underdog out there, our theme is to inspire people to reach their full potential, and we are on the journey with them on their new beginning, their path to a new future, their path to a new beginning. So, Chris, we are just waiting for him to hop back onto our stream. But shout out to New Beginnings Motivation. They have upcoming events as well. Please visit my page. And they are going to be also during the course of the year promote their new book. So we have amazing, amazing benefits for the New Beginning Motivation members. We have weekly meetings. We have newsletters going out, guys. We have launched a book recently. We have live events coming up, and we connect amazing, amazing entrepreneurs, amazing professionals with each other, and we help them along their journey of their new beginning. A new beginning is a very special thing, guys. A new beginning is a start to something phenomenal. And if you're out there and you kind of feel like you've been an underdog all your life, I know I felt like that growing up. This group is for you. So make sure to reach out to us. You can reach out to David Vrablik. I'll make his email address readily available. Hop on in a meeting, come and meet the team, and come and see the content that we produce. We also offer life coaching. So if you're looking for a life coach, maybe you've reached that ceiling of your industry. Maybe you feel like you've grown as big as the tank is in your fish tank. Maybe you want to expand and excel and exceed even more. Remember, personal and professional development is at the order of the day. That's something that never changes. And new beginnings aren't just set to one season of your life. A new beginning starts again and again because we grow, we learn, we evolve, we build that knowledge. So make sure you log into NBM when we are streaming live, comment on our stuff, and come and meet the team. I've got Kris back. He lost signal. That happens, guys. I know I travel often and I've lost signal in all kinds of places. So we're gonna continue with his journey. Kris, I was just telling the audience, since I've met you, you've always been humble. You always pay it forward. You always share open doors with your fellow workers, your friends, and you've really given us an example of what it is to be resilient. You've given us an example of what it means to take a negative and turn it into a positive. Because looking back at the things that you've shared with us, you had to push through all of that, and you had to do it on your own. And still here today, you're a giving person, you are someone that works hard, and you're always out there promoting other people and bringing upliftment. And that's what Meticulous Moments is all about. And we're very blessed, guys. I just want to add this as well, that Kris is a part of the MAM group as well, because he's a good fighter. And I'm going to ask him about his Cobra Kai days on set now as well. He's also a part of my mastermind group, my martial arts mastermind group. It's called MAM, and that spells Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. He's a valuable member. So I saw a post of yours. Let's start here. You mentioned that you are starting a new style in the arts. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I've been inspired, obviously while on set. Some of the finest stunt fighting I've seen ever in my life, obviously. So I've been inspired to work on some Taekwondo and some Wing Chun. Some Taekwondo for the distance, the Wing Chun. I want to get to the close quarters, the back. I don't know all the terms, but, to be able to, learn the art, not to mention the therapeutic value of it. I listen to a lot of Stoic philosophy. It's a lot about awareness and focusing on what I can control, which is me, not them or you or anyone else.
Yeah.
What I can do to improve myself. I'm hyper focused, and that as an auto detailer, buffing and polishing paint, you're real meticulous. You know what I'm saying? So just being hyper focused and being able to take and learn more about flexibility, forms, and more about the style. I like to challenge myself. Plus, it'll keep me eating healthy and working out. I'm on the 20-day makeover right now. I'm on a fruit fast and coffee out of Tomlinson Motor Company's cups. That's where I work. Home of the no hassle buy. I'm out here politicking. Anyway, to be able to basically the way I live my life now is one day at a time. Gratitude. I try to keep gratitude foremost, like in the morning, because we all know what it's like to have a bad day. We all know what it's like to have a bad go at life. I'm no special case. You know what I mean? So to be able to just take that time in the morning and focus on what's really important, you know, has become a key part. And of course, when I worked in the treatment center and at the three-quarter homes, structure was always job one. You know, you had to run a tight ship. So I kind of do that for myself. That's probably why I'm super single, not just single, but super single. No, probably because I'm a tourist. But anyway, I I've never had a hard time, being hard on myself, I guess, and making the changes necessary to try to improve. And a lot of times I'll speak it to manifest it. That's why, everybody's probably like, "Oh, there's Roberts on Facebook again. Holy, won't he cut it out?" No, I share things like if you see me in a picture flexing my muscles or whatever, it's because it helps me to stay accountable to me. I mean, plus there's some pride there. Don't get me wrong. It's not like an arrogant pride or anything like that. It's like I'm proud of my healthy accomplishments here. But anyway, I post stuff like that. I post a lot of stuff, and it's all, with a good motive and an encouraging motive. I try not to get too wrapped up in all the crazy stuff that's out there, but I mean, you got to laugh every once in a while. But yeah, so yeah, it's an experience. I'm teaching myself at the moment while on set. I was privileged. I met a master of kung fu, and I was privileged to get attached to him. I can get lessons online from him for nothing.
Wow.
They tell you what, it's cool. Being on set's a whole nother world. You know what I mean? Uh, but yeah, I was just super inspired to and I've always had a leaning towards you know more of the rhythmic
Mm-hmm.
fighting. You know what I mean? Like Tai Chi and whatnot, this, that, the other.
Yes.
And it, like I said, it's like a dance. Yeah, I like to
Yes.
dance. I mean, I can't unless I had a six pack or so. But anyway, no, I like to dance. I like to feel. I'm 46 years old. I want to try to improve myself as I age. You know what I mean? And granted, I smoke. I drink too much caffeine. There's all that. But if I can eat okay and exercise, I'm kind of got a step up. So that stuff's important to me.
Yeah.
So it gets priority. I received a role in a film yesterday, a vampire film. I'm happy to announce. Who,
Congratulations.
who doesn't want to be in a vampire film? And I'm gonna be a
Everybody wants to
vampire.
be in a vampire movie.
That's like check, everything's fulfilled. And that's one thing I can say, Juanita, about the film industry. Uh, I'm so content with the things that I've had privilege to be, to have done so far. Let's talk about Damien Chapa.
Yeah.
JP Gates. I was communicating with this gentleman from Britain, London over there, and
Yeah.
he's like, "I got a role for you," blah blah blah. So we went through that whole communication stage of dates, times, this, that, the other, and then it finally came down the chute that who I was going to be working with, and he says, "You're going to have a fight scene with Damien Chapa himself." I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, say now, Vatos Locos forever, don't you know?" I grew up blood in, blood out was the gospel where I came from. I was in
Yes.
a Hispanic gang. I admired Damien Chapa from a young age, and here I was for my first sizable production. I was going to have a fight scene with this man that I watched
Fantastic.
as a teenager. So, it's like things like that. Where do you get that? You don't get that. I mean, granted, I could go climb a frickin' mountain somewhere and get that. But you know what I mean? I ain't got to go climb a mountain and get what I got. You know,
Yeah.
that feeling of reaching the climax, you know, or the apex of an
Yeah.
achievement.
That
So
pinnacle.
that was, go ahead,
I said reaching that pinnacle,
the
that dream.
pinnacle.
I mean, that was your favorite to watch, and here you are in a film with him. How amazing! That
Yeah, it
doesn't
was
happen often.
really cool. Totally cool. And again, there's been other experiences that were just like textbook, the universe saying, "Here, this is for you." You know what I mean? And on that note, I believe that's, I mean, if we try to do good and live, you know, in accordance with our fellow man, you know, and try to be just and righteous, you know, life is grand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way that, and I'm not saying you don't work for opportunities, but I feel like you work to align yourself for the opportunity that's
Yes.
simply been waiting for you to apply yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. I always tell people, when you align yourself with you and with the universe, when you're in that alignment and like you live with the gratitude that you express every day, Chris, the things that you're seeking are seeking you as well. Those things
I
that you really want to do, they find us because we are in alignment and we are at peace and we're grateful.
absolutely. And I mean, not every day is a tiptoe through the tulips either. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you recenter, you know, and you just try again tomorrow. You know, there was before hashtags were cool on social media. You know, that was one of my tags. I'd write poetry, you know, and I would always tag it "Better Days Ahead." And I was writing that 20 years ago,
Wow.
you know, on my poetry, and I've had some published poetry as well. I like to write. I've yet to put paper to or pen to paper to write a movie script, but that's probably on the horizon too. Why limit myself? Um, so yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said, uh, Cobra Kai casting mentioned the additional 9 dates, and I told them that I would make myself available.
Fantastic.
Uh, Now, mind you, on production, I watched. You know, it's kind of like anything else. When you're no longer needed, you're sent home, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was I,
We're just waiting for Chrissy's Wi-Fi is buffering while we are waiting for him to return. I just want to give a special shout out to Nancy Sharp Allen and Carlos Silverfist Pagan who have joined us here on this live. Thank you guys for tuning in. There is a little bit of a signal delay here, but we are going to be fixing that very, very soon. We are talking here with Chris D. Roberts. He is a martial artist. He's also an actor, guys, and he has really walked a journey with getting into the industry and really building himself up and working to the place that he's now taking those gaps. And if you were listening from the first, from the start of this, you would have heard him say that he applied to be an extra on the Cobra Kai team on the new season 6 production, and he ended up getting a role. And that was only because he wanted to take that shot. He was saying that he is going to take that shot even if it's for an extra. And I think that's a big lesson to be learned, guys, because sometimes we are willing to take that door, we are willing to take that jump, we are willing to take that step just because we have the courage to do so and we have that willingness to learn and excel and grow, big doors open for us. Yes, Kris, he's back with us, and we want to hear more about Cobra Kai. They want him back for an additional 9 days on set. Kris, welcome back.
Thank you. I apologize, everybody. I'm
It's fine.
way out of six. Uh, so yeah, like I said, I signed up for that. I'm not sure if and when I'll receive. I'm sure I'll receive a confirmation email, hopefully, which means yes, I was asked to return the 24th of this month. So, and I believe it's for like a 3 or 4 day stretch that they'll need me on set again. Such a privilege to be needed on set, Juanita.
It
I
is.
mean, again, like I said before, I was just like a baseball fan in a stadium, but this has a little more meat and potatoes, and that's
Yeah,
again, I'm not elaborating, but it's more substantial, if that
yeah.
makes sense, and I'm very proud of that, and it gives you it motivates you, it
It
inspires
does. It
because
does,
it's like
and because it does that for you, because it motivates and inspires you, the rest of us feel motivated and inspired by your journey. And there's something that you mentioned, and we spoke about it, and that's gratitude. And then you mentioned that you wrote poetry and you kind of manifested 20 years ago that the better days are ahead. And it's so important that we realize the things that we say, the things that we think on a daily basis, those things become our reality. Those things are our manifestations. I've had several times where I've spoken things and, I've spoken it into the universe. I always make sure that I send out positive energy because I know the universe is going to reciprocate it to me. And that good energy, Kris, that you use there has carried you along your path, and it has solidified your journey as an actor. This is just the start of amazing things. It's a wonderful level to reach, but for me, I believe it's gonna be a start for greater things. I'm a huge Cobra Kai fan. When the new seasons come out, I sit with my son. We wait for it to air that day, and we'll sit and we'll binge the whole series. We won't go to sleep. We'll sit and we'll binge that whole series until we're done because we just have to see the ending. So I can't wait to, show him the next season and say, look, I know Kris, and talk to him about what you faced, what you've been through, because that speaks to our younger generation as well. It speaks to our fellow martial artists, our fellow actors. It's a story, it's a testimony of what you've gone through. Now, I have to ask you, Sensei Johnny and Sensei Daniel, how are they in real life? Because, in our dojo where I come from, I've trained for almost a decade there. Our Sensei Akiyoshi is more like Sensei Johnny. He's the no mercy type of sensei, and that's what we came to love. We love that. But Sensei Daniel, of course, in one of the seasons they made it clear, and that was part of the storyline. You need both, right? You need both. You need the calm and the art and the knowledge and the basis, but you also need that vigor and that power and that force. So tell me, what are they like in person? What are they like in real life?
I had the privilege of shaking Billy's hand, uh, Johnny Lawrence,
Yeah.
uh, and he very professional, very and the whole time. Now, mind you, I'm looking through the lens of the kid that Sensei's wiping the blood off his nose and telling him to sweep the leg. I'm seeing it all through that. I'm seeing it all through that, Juanita. So that added more of
Yeah.
just to see those guys together. It was like I said at first, it was super surreal to me. But yeah, just to watch actors with that level of skill and experience work, I get chills right now. And again, I'm biased because I love the Karate Kid saga. It is
Yeah.
so huge to be connected to that. To me, it's friggin' huge, and I can't think of any '80s kid it wouldn't be, '90s kid, you know.
Yes.
But anyway, no, I lost my train of thought. It's been a long day, friend.
Johnny and Daniel, what are they like in real life?
You know, again, Johnny, like I said, he's a presence. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to run the team. You know, didn't have the privilege to get close to Daniel San. However, from a distance, I watched him work, and it was very also, you know, commendable.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, you see them interact with one another and with the production team. And it just goes back to it being a great experience, you know, that I'm proud to have been selected to be a part of. Uh, and like I said, the way it unfolded, you know, just like the casting agent saying, "Today's your lucky day." I was like, I knew that as soon as I seen you were calling. You know what I mean? So I was like, "Yes, ma'am." You know, I was just like, I had an expectation, and that's another thing. You know, you gotta be careful. Like Ethan Hawke says, it's like your smiles and cries. You know, that's all you got. You got
That's
to be
it.
careful. You got to be careful with your expectation. I think on one hand it's great to have, but on the other hand it can be severely downtrodden, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. You know,
It
if you put
does.
them too high on something that you know that is totally out of your control, that's when anxiety comes into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you balance your expectation, but I've always had that expectation. You know, it's like I keep a journal, and I read in my journal, and this is bold and quite hilarious, in fact. I wrote in my journal, like the fourth gratitude entry, number four was, I look to get better roles, leading roles. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have. And then number five, I was grateful for my star on Hollywood Boulevard. So I'm that guy. I'm that guy that, you know, look at what I'm looking at. You know, this is what I have. But I see things that, you know, just like anyone else that are visionary and, you know, are able to, you know, obviously see something that is so far away and unseemingly attainable and just continuing to work towards it.
That's it.
You know, it's like you're way out in the middle of an ocean and you see a speck on the horizon. You know what I mean? And the whole time you're swimming to that speck, it gets a little bigger, it looks a little bigger, and you're hoping you're not just seeing things, if that makes sense. That just brings it
It
full circle.
does.
You know, you're headed towards it, hoping you get there, and wondering the whole way if it's even real. So
Absolutely.
you know, I mean, you spoke earlier about manifestation and speaking things. You know, I'm big on that too. You know, I'm borderline dangerously reclusive. You know, I
Yeah.
stay away from a lot of energy, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not that I don't like people. I love people. I'm a teddy bear. You know what I mean? In fact, that was my nickname growing up as a kid. And that's funny because my boss's real name is Teddy. So it's funny to call somebody Teddy when you were called Teddy all your life.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ed Roberts, pops, love you. Anyway, uh, being on set was phenomenal, and I'm probably way off base of what I was just talking about. But anyway, I just got home. What was it? Monday night at 8 o'clock. Came in, unpacked a few things, got to work at 8 o'clock the following morning. So I'm kind of on autopilot right now.
Yeah.
Um,
It's very tiring
and
to be on set.
at this moment, yeah, the days start to run together on set. We had Sunday off, and I was able to, you know, just spend some time relaxing. Met a friend, childhood friend, Victor Roldan. Thanks again for coming out. Enjoyed the Cuban sandwich, the fellowship. Good to see you as always. Yeah, we grew up together, and he's seen the things that I was involved in, and I'm sure uh, I had numerous friends. In fact, the Ford brothers, Luke, Matt, Mark, John, Luke, Seth. Appreciate you guys. They're all biblical names. I always loved that about those
Yes.
guys. They were my heroes growing up. They were they like Nirvana kids. They liked
Yeah.
Nirvana and loved them. They played the guitar, and even my gang brothers even accepted them because they were my friends. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was. But anyway, I don't know. I keep petering off in different directions here. I'm exhausted. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you're exhausted after set, yeah. But there's so
and I'm
many, please continue. Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
that's okay. You know, and at this point, again, I was the 24th is only, I don't know, what's today, the 5th, 6th,
Yes.
18 days away. So now in my mind, I'm thinking about so again, I'm like, I might fuel up the Lear jet and fly up there to Atlanta, or I may frickin' crawl. But if they confirm me for the 24th, I'm going to Atlanta one way or another.
Yes.
You know, I mean, of course, unless as long as it's not injurious to me or anyone else, obviously. Uh, but you get the drift. I want to be there. Absolutely want to be there. Again, privileged to work with such a fine crew. You know, watching stunt fighters and just we all know what goes on Cobra Kai. Just you don't
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on season 6, and that's what's important. Just a reminder to myself. Uh, just to and again, we were speaking about the cast and how they were in real life, top notch people. There's a couple I want to meet and speak to, but I'm professional on set.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Set life is something else, especially when set life is beautiful. I love being there. But it's life, it's interacting with other people, and that can sometimes be challenging. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, yeah, if I get the confirmation, and again, I hope I do. I don't know if I should have by now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be in Atlanta, and I'm going to continue to, pursue this industry. Um,
Yes.
Obviously, I don't want to be an extra all my life or a
Mm-hmm.
background actor all my life. So doors are opening and opportunities are arising for more principal type roles. For that, I'm grateful for. For that, I worked hard for also. Um,
Yes.
and that goes back to everyone that I've shouted out along the way. That's taking a gamble on me. I appreciate that. Um, it's just I'm gonna keep
It's
plugging
been a
along.
journey. It's been a journey, and I also want to tell the audience, Kris is going to be in three of the productions that I'm also working with. So we are so excited to have him on the cast. And just it's amazing that you've gone through all of that, that you've kept your dream in your heart, you kept on manifesting, you kept on staying humble. Kris, you are an inspiration to everyone. Meticulous Moments, our audience, we are super proud of you. You're a good person and you're shining your light out there, and we are very, very proud of you. And I know there's great, great things coming for you, including a vampire film, I believe, but I know you can't divulge too much details about that. But we are cheering you on, Kris, and Meticulous Moments will always be open to you. This platform is always open to you. And keep on shining. It's so important that I know there's a lot of positives in life. We meet amazing, positive people. But then, guys, the latter is also true. Not everybody wants us always to excel and to exceed. We also have people that are negative towards us. Learn from Chris's journey, take those negatives, turn them into a positive. Ask him,
Thank you
he's
in
been through
advance.
that.
Yeah, I got the finger wag out of me. Yeah, I want to mention something. I knew I was a performer at a young age, or I desired to be a performer. I want to share with you some of my first performances. I don't recall exactly how old I was, but we would go out to eat at restaurants. I was grade school age,
Yeah.
and I loved cartoons, so I was in that area, but we'd be in the restaurant and I'd get bored and I'd go to the bathroom and I'd lock the door and I'd sing Popeye the Sailor Man at the top of my lungs. Happy birthday, Madre. I'll never forget my mother coming and dragging me out of not one, but numerous restrooms, taking me back to the seat, and I'm just waving at everybody. How y'all doing?
Performing.
You know,
Just another performance.
and here we are. Yeah,
Here you are. And it's a special day for those who tuned in a little bit later, or maybe you're going to watch the replay, guys. I know sometimes the work hours differ, so sometimes people watch the replays. It's Chris's mom's birthday, and we are so happy that we can celebrate that happiness and health to her always as well. Please extend that happy birthday from our audience to her as well. It's a very special day, and moms are special. I miss my mom. I lost her in 2020, but I know one thing: moms make a very, very big impression in our lives. And I'm so blessed that you have your mom with you, that you guys can celebrate this beautiful day together.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Kris. We are looking forward to having you back. Yes, guys, you are right. We're going to have Kris back after his next production. We want to hear all about it because we are cheering him on in this journey, and we are so proud to have him as a member, as part of the family. Kris, keep shining out there and keep inspiring people. We appreciate you. Thank you. Us.
Thank you, Juanita. Great to be here. Oos.
Bye, guys. We'll see you in the next session.
Bye. Thank you, everybody, for
Bye.
tuning in. Yes.